Boa noite. Bom menino em Tech Time com Arte Toledo. Uau, hope informação nos está dando. Hope informação, hope likes. Danke na tua likes, danke na comments, danke na pergunta na que nós recebi. Astriba kaya coronanta para nós. Nós está se tu aqui não pagos não. Sim, dembo idioma papiamento. Tribatura isla não e no mundo. Agora nós estamos em diferente tópico trove. Porque sabe aqui que está? Não vira o canal. Queda aqui na Dutch Caribbean TV, você tem tour informação. Tour ainda conhece LinkedIn. Também tem website social, social media, e também pode dar informação pero a um nível mais profissional. Porque está com nada atrás, com nada base de inventar hybrid working, dus wat tra mitar de oficina, mitar na casa, ou um outro caminho, bang, para boa explicação e para mira conduzir ena que está tra anto hope mais produtivo.
At LinkedIn's flagship office space, there are more than 75 different types of seating.
This feels like a spot for maybe a really quick call or just answering a couple of emails. Work or NBA Jam. Yeah, this is your space.
Yeah, this is my space and that's your space.
Many of these seats were actually meant to be desks.
So I think during our initial plans, we had just standard desks in this space with traditional conference rooms and huddle rooms.
But the pandemic changed that.
How much of what we're seeing in this space is new as a result of the pandemic?
100% of it.
This recently opened space is designed for hybrid work, a model that has emerged as the leading choice for LinkedIn and others, with 42% of people with remote-capable jobs working partly at home, according to a February Gallup poll. So what does a hybrid office look like? I toured Building 1 with the project's leaders to find out, and to get a glimpse into what could be the future of workplace design. Building 1 is the new hub of LinkedIn's campus in Silicon Valley. It has 6 floors, roughly 239,000 square feet, and room for about 1,500 employees.
Prior to the pandemic, when we looked at this building, really at that point, the main goal was fitting as many people as we could in this space.
The original floor plans called for 1,080 individual workstations. The thinking was, one employee, one desk.
Once we were sent home during the pandemic, a lot of that changed. And much of what we were trying to solve for before the pandemic was not the same thing that we were looking at that moment.
So, with the help of its design partners at NBBJ, LinkedIn retooled the space, cutting the number of desks in half to 569 workstations, and adding dozens of new, non-traditional seating setups.
What did you and LinkedIn learn from the pandemic that would result in the space that we're in right now?
I think we really wanted to do a lot of experimentation because we just didn't know. No one had a crystal ball about what the future would actually be, so we wanted to provide as many variety of spaces as possible.
The variety starts right when employees walk in. The design does away with a large lobby in favor of a cafe.
Daniel and Adam.
This is one of my favorite spaces of the building. The idea of this space is that the minute you walk in, you feel the buzz, there's people getting coffee, there's people moving throughout the space.
The cafe spills into the first of 2 areas LinkedIn calls its co-working spaces. Think open, non-reserved seating. The co-working area on the 2nd floor was added in the redesign.
So we've got primary work points here.
Desks with monitors and tall-backed booths with ottomans dot the space that, looking back at the original design, was once full of assigned workstations.
So a space like this is great for those smaller time periods where you might come in and work with your team and then go home and do some focus time, or vice versa. Yeah.
And that's okay with LinkedIn to come in for half the day and work at home for half the day.
Yeah, LinkedIn's approach is that we are leading with trust. The idea is that we trust our employees to make the decision that's going to be best for them and their teams.
Co-working is open to anyone in the company for any amount of time. Employees assigned to the building who plan to work there all day will likely move upstairs.
The concept behind how the floors are planned is the entry to the building is the most social, and the farther that you get into the space, it becomes more focused.
Workers sit in so-called neighborhoods, or areas assigned to their teams.
We call this the living room.
Neighborhoods are split, about half alternative workspaces and half traditional desks. Those desks are mostly here, in the back.
Was this sort of what the whole floor was meant to look like before the pandemic?
It is what the whole floor looked like before the pandemic.
What led the decision to get rid of desk space?
Because we imagined that not everyone was going to come to work 8 hours a day.
So rather than fill the space with potentially empty desks, of which I still saw plenty, new furniture was added based on something called the Postures Matrix.
The Postures Matrix is about the amount of time that we imagine a person would be working doing a certain activity, combined with the amount of ergonomics to support that.
So how long am I meant to spend at this chair here?
So as a high table, we imagine that you spend less time compared to like a low standard table. So this would be used maybe 30 to 60 minutes.
LinkedIn employees in Building 1 don't have assigned desks. Instead, they can grab a seat anywhere in their neighborhood. But it's not quite hot desking either, as seats don't need to be reserved.
Even before the pandemic, our desk utilization was around 30 to 40%.
30 to 40%?
Meaning that even though people might be in the office all day, they're at meetings, they're at lunch, they might be sick, right? Or just not in the office. And so now we're really looking at what does that desk utilization look like in a hybrid world.
Do you know what that is yet?
No.
But in a hybrid office, the individual setup is arguably easier to design for. It's the conference room that's tricky. Here, LinkedIn is again experimenting, from conference rooms that look like living rooms.
What we wanted to do is to take away the formality of meetings from off-site to on-site and put people in a neutral position where if you are at home as a part of the conversation, you're feeling very comfortable interacting with your colleagues.
To conference rooms packed with tech, including cameras positioned at table height that reframe to better show the speaker.
So it makes it a little bit more like you're sitting at the table.
And cameras that help make the physical digital.
When folks are actually writing on this whiteboard, typically what you would be doing is writing like this, and a camera would be behind you, shadowing you from the people from seeing what it is that you're actually
you wouldn't
doing.
be able to see actually what's going on.
This technology ghosts you out so that people that are remote can see what you're writing.
Can we test it?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm standing in front of it now.
See what it's capturing?
Yeah, I see what you mean. So you have this new space with all of these new bits of technology and different types of seating. Is it meant to encourage people to come back into the office?
I think it's meant to welcome people, if that's where they need to be. But if that person is going to do their best work and have their best contributions to their team while being remote, that's okay.
That flexibility may not be possible for some companies, and others, like Tesla, simply aren't interested. But LinkedIn sees Building 1 as a kind of test, one that others could learn from.
To what extent is what we're seeing here in LinkedIn's office the future of work?
What we have is an awesome opportunity to experiment and to see what happens over time, and that this is entirely flexible space. It might turn out that what we need are more desks in the future, and that this could be changed into that, or it might turn into a completely different model. But the experimentation and the observation is really the key to seeing what the future is.
Cresce uma companhia sem raça uso de muito online da casa impossível. E sim, nós in the media boost também que focus em o que tem last página. Sem a branding, website of criar propaganda no da apresentar uma companhia, nós temos essa aqui. Tanto temos a focus em o que é produto e serviço, nós não só de atrair cliente novo para o online. Nós tá claro para crescer uma companhia de 2022, tomou contato com nós.
Ford Anja 930, Bulchan está brindando o melhor serviço. Produto de qualidade com amor e carinho. Nos sacam duro para trazer e spar, para assim chegar a lo qual você deseja. Da PC, nós te introduzimos serviço de garantia B-Care, para assim dar uma oportunidade para segurar boa inversão. Faça uso de boa inversão com toda tranquilidade.
Full chance Amanda su saco aqui. Nós estamos vez aqui. Kiko full chance Amanda awe noite para nós. Para nós unbox um cubo e donabo toda a informação de full chance. Sony também tem seu headset completamente novo, wireless noise cancelling stereo headset. Tá blow mais bonito mesmo de Sony, que nós também abre essa aqui à noite. Esta visa também cubo para playback music com 35 horas, então diz para charge 10 minutos, esta vai 60 minutos. Nós também abre essa aqui à noite para nós mirar com headset de Sony aqui está funcionando. Ito viene que headphone, su manual, su charger, anto hasta su jack também para si dado caso vou ter que escutar via DJ. Está bien. Essa aqui está é headset noise cancelling de Sony. É sumamente great. E great DJ também com essa bira. Então, vou pintar de botas, vou pintar qualquer caminho, como saco e nota quebra. Então, minha clapa vai pair essa aqui com meu telefone para nós provar com essa aqui da vez. Agora nós vamos pair, em verdade, nós mira com ela pair, arriba o telefone, nós vamos clicar. Wow. Vou pôr isso, o volume também aqui na emissora, o volume, sende para aqui. Então, se está algo de brass band, esta toca fenomenal. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, bom Sony, hope bom, hope heavy. Jonas aqui está hope bom headset. Então, headset fenomenal. Provavelmente como escuta headset assim na ducha, esta cinta na boa, orelha, e cozinha na great, não está tendo nada. Então, é algo hope bom que por passar na bull chance e buscar o headset. E essa aqui estava o headset de unbox de bull chance para o headphone está heavy, não? A bull chance só tem. Passa nas bull chance, busca o headphone. Preço está hope bom preço, boa qualidade, você vai ter garantia completamente na bull chance. Nossa papia, se vamos passar de Meta, nossa papia de Facebook. Você com o Facebook, atrás Facebook Portal. O que é um Facebook Portal? Seguir o vídeo seguinte aqui, me deve dar mais informação. O que é o Facebook Portal? Então, como instalar isso aqui na Bocas.
I'm overwhelmed. Can you tell me my flight itinerary for tomorrow?
Yeah, let me double check.
I definitely need to know. Thank you.
Yep, confirmed for 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. See you tomorrow.
Great. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Danke na nos sponsor ng kuasi e programa aqui possível. trazendo o produto não para você ter na casa, ou por passador DJ, ou por passar back riba na Facebook, YouTube, todo outro canal. Mas danke, e te outro semana, chamar-se Nitari Chete, no mesmo canal.